Hey, Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here, Clear Lake Guide Service with your report on Clear Lake for March 20th, 2024. It's been a great couple of days. Man, I'm telling you, we've had a couple of 70-degree days earlier in the week. Today it dropped down into the mid to high 60s. It's going to be about the same tomorrow. And then we get some weather rolling in towards the, actually from Friday on. So we'll see how much rain it amounts to. How it's been impacting lake level is that currently the lake is at 7.87 Rumsey, and it's dropped from just about 8, almost 8.2 from last week. So it's dropped about a third of a foot over the past week. So I don't know exactly how it's worded, but my understanding is once the lake gets under 7.9 for 24 hours, then the little speed limit deal of a quarter mile offshore idle zone goes away. I can tell you just from personal experience, if there's houses around, just because it got to a footage, take it easy. Just take it easy. So that's lake level. Water temperature, pretty darn good. I mean, I saw as high as 61 late in the afternoon. Now, Jim and I spent 3 days out on the water, concluding today, and we had a couple days we stayed out fairly late. It's just a good time to be out, this time of year, longer days, especially on a sunny, warm day. Bite just got better as the day went on. So we saw water temperature as high as 61. Starting temps, like I said, 56 to 57. Those are probably going to cool off a little bit with the cooler weather that's coming this weekend, but it's that way now. And I'm sure if you get into some backwater areas, you can find more, higher temperature than 61. Hopefully, Bob Tyler chimes in with the water temperature down in the Keys. I'm sure there's some of those backwater areas where it's warmer, probably 62, 63 degrees, maybe even warmer. So water temperature's looking good. Water color, pretty darn good, depending on what area that you're in. The lack of really heavy rain, most of the creeks up on the upper end of the lake, with the exception of Rodman, of course, have been running pretty darn clear for the last 4 or 5 days. So a lot of that water on this upper end of the lake has cleared up to an extent. You can't see 8 feet anywhere. I should say I didn't see anywhere where I could see 8 feet, but I've been in areas where I could see 3 feet, almost 4, where I could clearly see, that far. And I'm sure there's other areas of the lake that you could probably have better water clarity than that. Honestly, we've stayed on the upper end of the lake just because, frankly, I was tired of having to run down through the Narrows and, go down south every time to turn around and try to find the right conditions to try to catch some fish. So anyway, this report is basically talking about what I've run into on the upper end of the lake this past 3 days. So see, that takes care of that. Upcoming activities. There's actually 2 permits pulled for ABA for Saturday and Sunday. And I don't know if they've got 2 events going on, if they've got 1 event going on. I'm pretty sure there's an event on Saturday. I just don't know if sometimes they pull double permits and don't actually run the tournament. So anyway, there's 2 permits pulled. 4 ABA for this weekend. I'll tell you, the lake has been, if you're the traditional community holes on the upper end of Clear Lake, which is around all the creeks and the points, has been pretty crowded. I mean, there's been people all over the place. And, I personally am aware of 3 separate shouting matches going back and forth between boats that just aren't called for. Come on, we can all do better than that. First of all, if there's only 20 yards between you and another boat, don't try to squeeze in. We had somebody, us and another boat were the only 2 boats in sight. We were about 25 to 30 feet apart, and somebody idled right in between us when they could have gone completely around us. Let's try to be a little bit more courteous. For the most part, people have been really good, but you would be surprised what happens when a club tournament starts. Some of these other tournaments we've had issues with too, but it's just still early in the spring. Just do your best to get along with people. Share space if you need to. Nobody owns the water. You can't go into Shirley Slough and think that you're going to be the only one fishing in the mouth of Shirley Slough for 5 or 6 hours. There's room for a couple of boats in there. Just make the space, get used to it. If you can't fish that way, then go somewhere else. So that's just trying to get along with people and try to have a lot less nonsense going on. Fishing has been, as far as I'm concerned, is still an up and down thing. We know there's people catching fish really shallow, flipping. Obviously there's been a couple tournaments won that way recently, so that's one way of fishing, and Lord only knows, like we've been saying, there is tons of water to flip. If you're a flipper and you haven't been to Clear Lake in a while, you're going to go crazy when you see everything you got to target. It's not like it used to be. So, people are catching fish there. People are catching fish around the creek mouths. People are catching, it's a little bit of everything. Just reporting on what we've done this week. We caught fish on plastic worms. We caught fish on jerk baits and underspins and swim baits. Can't say that we killed them on any one thing. It just depended on the area that we were fishing. Most of our fish were probably in the 5 to 8 or 9 foot range. So we're just kind of trying to fish oddball stuff, stay away from as many people as we can, although that's kind of hard. So anyway, we caught some nice fish. Nothing huge by Clear Lake standards, but the thing is, if you can get 5 bites right now, you've got a really good chance of having 20 plus pounds. So I think with the high water this year, didn't want to forget to mention this. We actually caught a fish that was probably 2 1/4. That's the first small fish that we've caught this year. So at least there's one left. That's a good sign. So that's about it. I'm starting to ramble. So we will talk to you next week. Hope you have a good one. And just be kind to one another.